Well, before we head into spring, I thought I'd better share some slow cooker recipes with you, especially while the weather is still chilly and we're definitely craving the cozy meals. I've been on the hunt for some new recipes this winter, and I think I found some you're really going to enjoy. So pull out your slow cooker or your crock pot, whatever you call it. I'm excited for you to stick around. And hey, if we haven't met before, my name is Ange. Welcome, and this is the Menu Made Kitchen. All right, so for this first recipe I'm sharing with you, this is my slow cooker cheesy ham and potato chowder. The reason that I wanted to make this recipe is because my daughter was coming into town and she loves any kind of potato soup or loaded potato soup, and she loves ham. So I thought this combination would be really good, and it was absolutely delicious. I know you're gonna love it. All right, so for my cheesy ham and potato chowder, we're gonna start by melting a couple of tablespoons of butter. Now what I love about my slow cooker is it has an insert that can go onto the stove, but you can definitely do this in a different pot. Also, all of these recipes, you can skip this step entirely and just add everything to the slow cooker, but I really feel like sauteing the vegetables brings out the flavor. It kind of caramelizes the sugars in the vegetables and just makes the flavor that much deeper. So you choose what you have time for, but I'm gonna go ahead and saute the vegetables. We're gonna add in a half of a medium onion that I diced. I also have 2 minced garlic cloves. And then we are going to throw in our potatoes. I have 3 cups of diced russet potatoes. I am going to add just a pinch of salt. That will kind of help saute the vegetables and draw out the moisture. So really, I want to saute the veggies about 5 minutes, not too long. We're not looking to cook the potatoes or anything. We just want to slightly soften them, and again, just bring out the flavors. All right, it's been about 5 minutes. There's just a little bit of color on the veggies, so let's move over to the slow cooker. Okay, so next we're going to add in a 1.5 cups of diced ham. We're also going to do a 1.5 cups of frozen corn, and then we have 2.5 cups of chicken stock. We'll be adding in the rest of our ingredients after it's cooked for a bit, but at this stage, we're just going to add these items. All right, we'll give this a stir, and I'm going to cook this on high for probably 3 or 4 hours, really until the potatoes are tender. That's kind of what we're going for. And then we'll add in our milk and cheese and all that other good stuff. Okay, it has been 2 hours, and I actually tried one of the potatoes, and they're tender. And oh man, the flavor just in the potatoes is so good. Like the ham just offers that smoky flavor. So what we need to do is we need to thicken this. We're gonna add some milk, some cheese, and sour cream. I'm gonna scooch you over here. There we go. So I've got 1.5 cups of whole milk. You can also use 2%. I wouldn't use anything less than 2% just because you want this soup to be nice and rich. And then we also have 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And you want to make sure to add the cornstarch to the cold milk. You don't want to add it to any kind of hot liquid. So if you're feeling like, oh, should I warm up the milk? Definitely don't do that. Otherwise the cornstarch won't dissolve. Okay, so I'm going to whisk this up until the cornstarch is completely dissolved, and you'll kind of feel it at the bottom of the dish. It'll be kind of clumpy. Once it's all incorporated, it'll be smooth as a baby's bottom. All right, so we're going to add our milk and cornstarch. We're also going to add in a 1/4 cup of sour cream, and I'm really just doing this just to create more richness. You definitely don't have to, but I love adding sour cream to potato soup recipes. Get that off there. And then I have 2 different kinds of cheese. We're gonna do sharp cheddar cheese and Monterey Jack cheese. And I'm only gonna do, so I have 2 cups grated. I'm only gonna put in a 1/2 cup of each kind, and then we'll reserve the rest for people garnishing their own bowl of soup. There we go. Okay, and then all of this gets mixed together, and I'm gonna keep the slow cooker on high. We'll put the lid back on, and this needs to cook. I cannot use my words today. This needs to cook for like another 30 minutes or so. You really want this to be kind of thick, like a chowder type texture. And then after that, it's pretty much ready. I've got some green onions to garnish with, of course the extra cheese. You can just do about anything. You could even crisp up some bacon if you really wanted to be extra, but I think it's gonna be perfect. Popping the lid back on. I'm also gonna test it for salt and pepper just to make sure we don't need any. At this point, I don't need any salt. But other than that, it's gonna be ready to go in about 30 minutes, and then we get to taste it together. ecstatic to try this, and my kitchen smells delicious. So I added a little bit of cheese, some bacon, or not bacon, I added cheese and green onion. You can add bacon. And then a little bit of black pepper, but I did not add any salt. I only did the salt when I was sauteing the vegetables. So make sure you taste it first, because the ham and cheese and chicken broth all have plenty of saltiness to it. Okay, I'm so excited. And I think my daughter is absolutely gonna love this because it's nice and thick. Wow. That ham in there, it just takes it over the top. I feel like it's kind of fun to do ham instead of bacon. I do have a baked potato recipe on my website that is delicious. You make it on the stovetop. This is fun to do it in a slow cooker. And adding the ham, this is the perfect, like, cozy, creamy potato chowder to have on these cold, dreary days. I think that you are going to love this slow cooker recipe. It was so easy, and plus, who doesn't love potatoes and cheese? And then the addition of ham, it makes it so comforting and cozy. I know you're going to love it. Okay, so for my slow cooker chicken and rice, I'm going to start by getting my chicken seared. So I'm going to do about, a tablespoon or so of olive oil. And then what we have going on for our chicken, I have 3 chicken breasts, and I've seasoned both sides with a little bit of salt, pepper, paprika, and garlic powder. And so just measure with your heart, like they say. Okay, so I'm going to get my chicken seared in my slow cooker just until it's brown on both sides. Okay, now that my chicken is browned, I am going to add my onions and garlic to saute them a little bit. You don't have to do that. You can definitely throw your onions into the slow cooker raw, but I like to cook them first. So I've got 1 small onion diced, and then I have 2 minced garlic cloves. All right, I'm just going to cook up the garlic and onions for maybe like 2 or 3 minutes. Onions are browned up, so now we're going to add in the rest of our ingredients. I have 1.5 cups of basmati rice. You can also use just regular white rice. We also have 1 cup of chopped up carrots. And you want to make sure that the carrots and all the veggies are chopped up pretty small. We're also going to do a cup of celery diced. We've got a cup of frozen peas. Okay, and then we're going to add some seasonings. I have a 1/2 teaspoon each of rosemary, oregano, and thyme. And then I have a 1/2 teaspoon of dried mustard, a pinch of salt, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. We're also going to do 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire. That's really going to add just a nice depth of flavor. Okay, and then we're going to add in 3 cups of chicken broth. So I like to give this portion a good stir just to combine everything. It already smells so good. It kind of reminds me of Thanksgiving, I think, with all those dried herbs in there. And then we'll just take our chicken breasts and put them right on top. And I don't think I mentioned this, but obviously you can do chicken thighs. My family just prefers chicken breasts. Dump all that juice in there. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna pop the lid on, and I'm actually gonna cook this on high for about 3 or 4 hours, really until all the liquid is absorbed, the rice is tender and fluffy. Obviously the chicken will be cooked through, and then we get to taste it. All right, here we go. Isn't that beautiful? What I love about the rice in this recipe is it comes out nice and fluffy. Obviously, if you overcook it, your rice is going to be gummy. So when the rice is done, the whole dish is ready. I get like the perfect bite. I love how simple the flavors are. It definitely tastes like kind of like Thanksgiving, but definitely homey and cozy, but a little bit lighter, not so heavy, because there's no cheese or cream or anything like that, although you could add that. Very good. I would definitely make this again, and I think leftovers are going to be nice to have for lunches or even just another easy dinner. You definitely have to try this one. So for our slow cooker cowboy soup, we're gonna start by getting our ground beef and onions cooked. So I've got a pound of lean ground beef. We're also gonna add in a chopped up yellow onion. And all we need to do is cook our ground beef, and then we'll move over to the slow cooker and basically just dump in the rest of the ingredients. It's so simple. I am gonna be adding my minced garlic in here, but I'll only cook that for about 30 seconds. And then we'll move over and dump in all the rest of the stuff. Ground beef is cooked through. There's a little bit of grease at the bottom of my pan, so I'm gonna remove some of that before I add in my garlic. There's not a ton. This was lean ground beef like I mentioned, but sometimes there's just a little extra fat in there. So I have 2 garlic cloves minced. Actually, that was 3 garlic cloves. And we'll just cook this like 30 seconds and we'll see it over at the slow cooker. Okay, so that was the hard part about the recipe. So I have 2 cups of chopped up potato, and I used Yukon Gold. We also have 1 cup of frozen corn. We have 1 cup of chopped up carrots, and then we're going in with the beans. So I've got 1 can of green beans, rinsed and drained kidney beans. This really should be called like everything but the kitchen sink soup. It's just loaded with lots of stuff. And then we have some chili pinto beans. This is in tomato sauce and it has some different spices, and I'm going to use the sauce as well. We also have 1 can of fire roasted tomatoes, which is going to give a great flavor. And then for our spices, I've got 2 teaspoons of chili powder, a half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of oregano. I've got about a half a teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of pepper. And then the only thing left to add is 4 cups of beef stock. All right, we'll give everything a nice stir. I just think that this is going to be delicious. Very hearty, perfect for these cold, snowy days that we've been having. And just nice to put something in the slow cooker and I don't have to worry about what I'm going to be making for dinner tonight. And I'm going to cook this on high for probably 3 hours. You can also cook it on low for like 5 to 6 hours. Really, you want the potatoes to be tender, and obviously the longer it cooks, the more the flavors come together. So once this is all cooked, and we can come back here and give this a taste. All right, this is ready. I may have already tried a little bite because I wanted to make sure the potatoes were done. So this actually took about 5 hours on high. I was thinking it'd probably be more like 3 or 4. So I'll make sure that there's adjustments on the website, but obviously adjust accordingly and depending on your slow cooker. I also thought it would be really good to add some cheese and sour cream to this because it's got that Tex-Mex chili type flavor to it. It is so good. Like the little bite that I had, I was like, oh man. And I also I was gonna do some sourdough bread, but I made some little biscuits because I thought biscuits, Cowboy, like it all goes. All right, let's give this a try together. It's like a cross between hamburger soup and chili because it definitely has the chili flavors, but the broth is a lot thinner. It's not a thick stew-like chili soup type thing. That was a big mouthful. You know what I'm saying. This is so good. I'm not gonna say it's better than my mom's hamburger soup because that is in its own category, but wow. I think that it would be the perfect thing to make this winter to warm you up, and it's filling and just a hearty meal. That's what I love about it. I do want to try it with a biscuit though. I got to do a little dunking. That's my favorite part. I'm glad to have it with a biscuit. It is so good. I can't wait for you to try this. I think you're gonna love it and have fun with the ingredients. You can definitely throw in other veggies. This is definitely a keeper. Well, I hope you're excited about these slow cooker recipes as much as we are, and maybe just to have some ideas for this upcoming week. Don't forget all the recipe links are in the descriptions. And hey, if you're new here, I'd love for you to be part of my YouTube family, so make sure to subscribe. I hope you have a really blessed week, and we will see you next time.